Hello, my name is Erica Shea, and you are tuned into Slay, where each week you and I turn our attention inward and reflect on ideas intended to help move you into a state of inspiration and empower you to take decisive, proactive action toward achieving your goals and reaching your highest potential. Today, we are talking about pushing past limitations and things we can do when our inner critic rears its ugly head and tries to interfere with our progress. If you are ready to stop undermining your confidence and just break free from self doubt, then this episode is for you. Let's get into it. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you've lost. For out of the world we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Good, right? That is a poem, my favorite poem, by Walter D. Wintle, titled It's All in the State of Mind. And maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't, but it's something that I came across early in my self-discovery journey. And it's something that was just like, whoa, this is so good. And I thought it was so good that I got it put on a poster, like blew it up, framed it. It's hanging in my bathroom. I pass it every single day. I read it all of the time. It is something that I have Amora work on because she sort of has a stammer that we're working through. So it's something that I have her recite as well. And it's just something to always stop and consider. Like, what are you giving power to with your thoughts? It's the theme all of the time with each and every one of these episodes. And so today is no different when it comes to thinking about the goals that we are pursuing and this vision that we have for our life. It's easy to be super excited, but most of the time there are so many thoughts that we're thinking in a day. Not all of them are just super conscious, like anything, like we're not always in control of what pops into our heads. There's oftentimes like lots of random thoughts that pop into our heads. And before you know it, we find ourselves kind of like in the weeds of our thoughts, like lost in like, how did I even get here? Thinking about this whenever I was doing XYZ and I was thinking about something else. So I say all that to say it's so easy to kind of entertain these negative thought loops unintentionally. And so if you're actively pursuing a goal, you're actively, chasing a vision and you're holding a vision, you're less likely to fall into that habit, right? Because you're very intentional about just being mindful and following your train of thought and quickly just like switching your line of thinking because you're really trying to recondition and reprogram your brain. But we are human and we are imperfect, and sometimes shit just happens, right? Sometimes those negative thoughts pop up, oftentimes due to our environment or conversations of other people around us or something that we saw on social media. It's totally unintentional, but like unconsciously we pick up on these things, and then lo and behold, we find ourselves thinking about it unintentionally. And sometimes it causes us to just backtrack a little bit, and it steals some of our energy, it steals some of our valuable resources. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. I want you to consider your life as a garden, your mind as a garden. And in this analogy, your thoughts are your seeds, your attention is your sunlight, something that we've talked about in previous episodes. It's your nutrients. It's what helps you nurture what you are trying to give life to in this lifetime. And just like seeds have the potential to grow into plants, our thoughts carry the potential to manifest into actions, behaviors, and outcomes, right? Cause and effect. Just like seeds, our thoughts, they require proper care, nourishment, and attention in order to grow healthy. And just like in a real garden, weeds can sprout, negative thoughts and limiting beliefs, which hinder growth and progress by competing for our resources. And just like we pull weeds out of our beautiful garden, we have to replace or reframe disempowering thoughts that don't serve us or that steal our joy. It's something that takes time, patience, and consistency. Just like seeds take time to grow into plants, so does the process of reprogramming and reconditioning our minds. We got to give lots of grace throughout the process, but we also just have to stay super vigilant, just hyper aware of what we are lending our attention to, and mindful of how we are feeling within our bodies. We have to consistently cultivate positive thoughts, even when we're faced with challenges or setbacks, because over time, these thoughts begin to shape our mindset, which can lead to positive changes in our lives. And just as we eventually get to enjoy the fruits of our labor when we plant a seed and nurture it, we also get to experience positive outcomes, personal growth, and a more fulfilling life when we consistently cultivate positive thoughts. So, with that in mind, what have you been giving your life to? What does your garden look like? Is it something that you are proud of? Is it something that you would like to walk into as you look ahead into the future, knowing about all the seeds that you have been nurturing in your mind? What's the weed situation look like for you? Those limiting beliefs, those negative thoughts, that self talk that you entertain. Do you have any work to do in that area? You see, in order to pull our figurative weeds, not only do we have to be able to identify them, but we have to find their source in order to actually uproot them and replace them. So when you catch a weed in action, stop yourself. Tell yourself it's gotta go, the whole thing, roots and all. Reflect on whether it stems from previous failure or negative experiences. Is it something that you maybe received criticism over in the past to where you doubt your abilities or fear repeating the experiences again? Is it inadequacy? Is it a matter of you comparing yourself to others, constantly measuring yourself against others' achievements or appearances to where you don't feel like you're good enough? Maybe it was the way that you were raised and the environment that you grew up in. Maybe you experienced constant criticism, you felt like you lacked support, or that there just was unrealistic expectations established for you. What is there? Is it fear of being judged or rejected? Maybe you are just ridiculously perfectionistic. I know someone like her, and you've just set these impossibly high standards for yourself to where you just fear making mistakes or falling short of your own expectations, which really undermines your confidence. These are all common. They're all common causes of self doubt and negative self talk. Again, weeds that start stealing nutrients and life from other seeds that we are planting. Remember, small fires make small amounts of heat. It's hard to stay on top of all of our thoughts all of the time, but if you are spreading your attention out, your sunlight, allowing weeds to stay in your garden and pull from you, then your progress on the things that actually truly matter, it's going to be small because you haven't given them all that you can give. You're not playing full out. You're not actually giving 100%. For each weed, each limiting belief and negative thought you entertain, you are stealing from your vision, the desires of your heart. You have shit to do, a beautiful life to lead. You don't have time to be doubting your power or giving power to your doubts. So when you spot them, you show yourself some compassion by understanding where the thoughts come from, and then you replace the thoughts with something empowering. Maybe it's that you're just not doing that anymore and you're choosing growth over this bullshit self-talk. Maybe you take the time to reflect on all of your strengths and accomplishments and add that moment of transformation to your list, because let's be clear, anytime you catch yourself like that and you have this heart to heart with yourself, it's a big, huge moment, and it's a moment to love on yourself. Outside of that, just focus on everything that you have to be grateful for. So the point is, once you've shown yourself some compassion and you understand where the self-talk is coming from, Make it a point to find any way that works for you, that is authentic to you, that is real to you, that moves you in a way that you can reframe it and make it positive and really pull yourself out of that loop, and not just pull yourself out of that loop that one time, but hopefully for good. From there, you do something that helps you feed your confidence further, like go get a workout in, make a healthy meal, pay off a bill, check an item off of your to-do list, something that gets you a step closer to a goal that you have, so that you can essentially show to yourself that you are in control, that you defy any odd, any obstacle, any doubt that comes your way because you can, because you understand that everything is only what we make it in our minds. What we choose to believe is what we perceive. Nothing can exist in our reality without us first placing our awareness on it. Truly, think about it. Out of sight, out of mind. You don't have to accept someone else's opinion of who you are, or what this inner critic, who is really just scared, is trying to speak over you. You have the full power to reject what doesn't feel good to you, to totally make it dead by not giving it your attention, not giving it sunlight, not giving it life. When something pops in your head, you spot it and you say, no, I am no longer accepting that. Because I know if I want different for my life, I have to operate differently. I have to be different. I can't think the same way that I've always thought and expect things to change for me. No, you dismiss your doubts and you stay in your power. Let part of your life's purpose be to keep your garden beautiful. The garden that is your mind and internal world. See it as the source of everything projected in your external world. Because as within, so without. The only limits you have in this life are the limits you believe, the limits that you place on yourself. Because abundance isn't created, all right? Limitations are created, and that is what keeps us from our abundance. Believe in you and dismiss everything else. If you enjoyed this episode and know someone who could benefit from today's message or any of the content that we discuss, be sure to share it with them. As always, I thank you for tuning in. Until next time, continue to show up for yourself in a major way.